everybody, welcome back to my channel and to another nail video. In today's video I'm making a really cute set of autumnal tortoiseshell nails and I thought that I would show you how I make them. This set was a request from one of my friends and I wasn't really sure how it was going to turn out, so I decided to film it, and I'm really glad that I did because I think it turned out so nice. So I had already done the prep for this set before I started filming, and then I'm going in with my base colour, which is 2 coats of Perfect Nude from D&D. It's like a really perfect neutral nude colour, so it's definitely my favourite at the minute. And while I'm painting the base, I'm just going to show you the practice nails that I did for this set. So these are the 2 different nail art designs that I'm going to be doing for this set. I'd never done this kind of tortoiseshell design before, but my friend requested it, so I wanted to practice it before I actually made her set to make sure that she was happy with it. She really liked the practice nails. Even after doing them, I wasn't totally sure how I felt about the design, but the end result of this set I'm so happy with, so I'm glad that I practiced them and that she liked them enough for me to go ahead with it. So now that the base is all done, I'm moving on to the nail art. Most of the nail art in this set is tortoiseshell, so I'm using my little tortoiseshell polishes or the little gel collection that I bought, which is specifically for doing tortoiseshell nails. And I'm going to be using the glass orange, the glass brown and the glass black. And you can see me mixing together a little shade that's in the middle of those. The orange was a bit too bright and the brown was a bit too dark, so I thought I would just mix my own. And then I'm going to start by doing the nail art that is going on the middle and ring fingers, which is that one that's a little bit different. I'm not totally sure what you would call it, but I think you guys get the idea. So to do the tortoiseshell on this design, I took the brush right from the bottle and I'm just painting that sort of abstract line right onto the nail with that brush. I'm not bothering to use a liner brush or anything for this. When I was doing these nails, there was a little bit of back and forth, so you might see me switching between doing the middle fingernail and then the ring fingernail. I was just kind of seeing what worked and then repeating it on both nails just so that they were as similar as I could get them to be. Something that I really love about tortoiseshell is that it doesn't have to be perfect, and so they don't actually have to be super similar. Throughout this video you'll see me compare the nails on each hand to see if they were matching. But they definitely don't need to be perfect. I like them to be kind of similar, but yeah, they don't need to match exactly. So here the next thing I'm doing, I haven't cured this layer of the orange yet, and I'm going in with some of that mixture of the orange and brown shades on a dotting tool, adding some dots and then kind of using the dotting tool to blend those 2 shades together. So to blend the orange base that I already did and this brown orange mixture that I've got on my dotting tool together. And once I'm happy with that layer, I will cure it and move on to the next. Tortoiseshell is all about layering, so I'm basically going to layer all of the darker colours on top of what I've already done. And again, I'm using my dotting tool in that same kind of dabbing motion to blend in the colours. And I also decided to take my dotting tool and just use the clean end to kind of blend out the edges of that colour. So at the minute I'm using the dark brown colour and just using the smaller end of the dotting tool to kind of blend it in a little bit, and I think that worked out pretty well. I don't have any real method for the pattern when I do tortoiseshell. I will kind of just go in back and forth until I'm happy with it and keep layering the darker browns, and then in a second you'll see me add the black as well, just to make sure that it's got a little bit of dimension and it actually looks like tortoiseshell. So the last stage of this tortoiseshell design is to go in with the black, and I would usually just put that in the darkest areas that I've already done, or any areas that look really light as well, that just look like the background colour. You can make your tortoiseshell print as light or as dark as you want. For this set I didn't want to make it too dark, but I do think the pattern looks really nice when it is darker as well. I think a set like this is perfect for this time of year where we're going from summer into autumn. It's not too dark, but it isn't still a summer set, and tortoiseshell just totally gives me like autumn, fall kind of vibes. So I think my friend Megan that I'm making this set of nails for has been waiting until this time of year specifically to request this design. So now that I have finished the tortoiseshell design on the ring and middle fingers, I am moving on to the tortoiseshell French. And if you are new to nail art and to painting French tips, definitely recommend trying this kind of French tip, a tortoiseshell French tip first. I think it's something about the jelly polish that just makes it so much easier to do. So if you struggle with French, definitely give it a go and let me know what you think. So for the tortoiseshell French tips, I am going to do them in the same way that I did the tortoiseshell on the other nails, by going in with the orange colour as the base, and then before I cure it, adding some of the orange and brown mixture. The only difference is that once I've done that and I've cured that and I'm ready to move on to the second layer of tortoiseshell for the French tips, I'll actually give the whole French tip a whole coat of the orange again, but I will show you that when I get to it. Also, can I just say here, I have no idea why I was using such a thin brush to fill in the whole of the French tip. When I go back in a second, I've changed my brush because I realised that it was taking me so long to try and fill the nail in with this tiny little thin brush. This brush is actually one that I bought it from Shein, and I cut it really thin myself so that I could do a really nice French tip, and I really like it for that, but I have no idea why I spent so long trying to fill in the nail with that little brush. So this was where we were at after I had done the first layer of the French tip, and then here I'm going in to do the second layer. And like I said, for the second layer of tortoiseshell, it is a little bit different on these French tips. I've covered the whole of that area with the jelly orange colour, and then I'll go in like before, take the darker brown on the dotting tool and also go in with the black, and then once I'm happy with that and how the nail looks, then I will cure it. The reason why I go over the full French tip part of the nail with the second layer is to stop the nail being like super textured. I think that is still my biggest issue when it comes to doing tortoiseshell nails. It's really difficult to get the nail to be smooth because you're layering colours in some areas but not the rest. So some parts of the nail will only have, say, 2 coats of gel polish on them, whereas other parts of the nail are going to have 3, 4, maybe even 5 coats of gel polish because those are the darkest parts. That's why I'm really mindful to try and blend the darker colours in, and I try not to build up too much colour in one area and just use more of the darker colour. But it's definitely tricky, and it's definitely something that I'm still working on. I think it's just a case of practice makes perfect, and I'll get better at it over time. So here are the nails with all of the tortoiseshell done, and then it is on to the fun part, which is doing the gold details. I decided to do the gold details on the French tips first because the gold on the other nails is going to be done with gold leaf, and that is pretty messy, so I wanted to save it for last. But for the gold on these nails, I am using my little detail paint, and would you call this a cuff? Like I'm doing a gold cuff on the French tips? I guess that's what you could call it, but I'm basically doing a little line, a little cuff around the French tip in this gold paint, and I think it really makes the set. I actually made a set like this for myself a little while ago, and it's one of my favourite sets that I've made myself yet. I absolutely loved it, and my friend Megan really liked them as well, which is why they are a part of this set. I think the original plan was to make a full set of the other design with the gold leaf and the tortoiseshell, and then after we did the practice nails we decided that it would look really cool to do a set that had mostly French tips and then the other design as a sort of feature nail, and I definitely think we made the right choice doing it this way, but you guys will just need to let me know what you think when you see the end results. So now it's time to move on to doing the gold leaf. I had actually never used gold leaf on nails before, which is another reason why I wanted to do the practice nails, but it was actually a lot easier than I thought it would be, so I'm going to show you how I'm doing it. So for the nails that I'm adding the gold leaf to, I am going to paint some base coat on it to make sure that it has something to stick to. Because these nails have a lot of texture in the middle where that tortoiseshell was, I was making sure that the base coat on those parts of the nail was really thin. Again, I was worried about the texture of these nails just because they had a lot of colour in the middle but not on the sides, but I think in the end it actually ended up working out pretty good. The nails definitely have some texture to them, but they're not too bad. So once I had painted the base coat onto the 4 nails that were going to get gold leaf, I cured it in the lamp for a full 60 seconds, and I was getting the gold leaf ready while I was doing that. To apply the gold leaf to the nail, I'm going to use a little silicone tool, so I took that tool and broke up some little pieces of the gold leaf while I was waiting, and that just made it so much easier to apply to the nail. And actually applying the gold leaf to the nail was really simple. I picked up a little bit, whatever size that I wanted, and placed it on the nail, and then I went back in with the tool and sort of pressed that down to try and get it to stick. Hopefully you can see I'm using little tapping motions and dabbing that into the nail, and then once I was totally happy with the placement of the gold leaf on the nail, I'm taking the silicone tool. I actually cleaned all of the excess gold leaf off it and then took the tool and really patted all of the gold leaf into the nail and into that layer of base coat. And the reason why I used base coat instead of something like top coat is because the base coat's really sticky, so it did really help the gold leaf to stick where I wanted it to. Hopefully you guys know what I mean when I'm trying to explain how I applied the gold leaf to the nails. I've included a couple of clips just so you can see what I'm doing, but it was the same for all of them. Used the tool to pick up some gold leaf, tap it where I wanted it, and then once I was happy with it, I cleaned off the tool and then went back in again and tapped it all in, just to make sure that it was flat, that there were no bits that were sticking up, and that it was definitely going to stick where I wanted it to. Once I had finished all of the nail art, this is how the nails were looking, and the only thing left to do was add the top coat. For this set of nails, the top coat was a little bit different than how I usually would do things. So the two nails that were like this, that had the tortoiseshell and the gold leaf, actually got 2 coats of top coat. First I took my chrome top coat and I applied a layer. This was kind of like an extra layer to encapsulate all of that gold leaf, just to make sure that it's not going to chip off and that there aren't any bits of gold leaf sticking up and making the nail all jaggy or misshapen or whatever. You could also use something like a layer of clear builder gel to do this, but I actually found that just using 2 coats of top coat worked really well. Once I had encapsulated all of the nails that had the gold leaf on them, I just went in with my regular top coat and top coated all of the nails, all 10 nails, and that was the very last step for making this set. Like I've mentioned a couple of times throughout this video, I was really impressed with this set and I really loved the finished results. Before I show you the final nails, I would just like to ask that if you found this video helpful in any way, that you please give it a thumbs up, because it really helps out my channel. And if you liked this video and want to see more videos like this, then please subscribe, because I make nail content every week. Recently I've been having fun making different kinds of nail content too, so if there's something that you want to see, then definitely let me know in the comments. But here is the reveal of the final nails. I will show you them all packed up and ready to go in a second. Definitely let me know in the comments if you would make this set of nails and if you would wear this set of nails. That is all from me from this video, so I just want to say thank you so much for watching, and I will hopefully see you in my next one. Have a great day. Bye!